great question. As someone who does web development, branding, graphic design, social media management, and marketing, I've charged many different rates at many different times, depending on what skill I'm being contracted to do. In some cases, it could use all of them for one project. I did a logo design once for a small Tier 1 client. They only had a budget of around $200. I spent about an hour coming up with some concepts in Adobe Illustrator and sent them along in an email with a few mock-ups. They loved one idea so much they did not want to change or modify it. Well, maybe a slight color change, but that was it. I spent another half hour preparing all the vector and other file formats for them, and they were happy. So for $200 divided by 1.5 hours equals about $133 an hour. It might not be my biggest job, but time ended up being rewarded, even though it was just a little client and a little job. This is always so tricky. My goal is to always get the client to reveal their budget in some way. I do this by asking questions about the project in more details, and it helps me size up their expectations. If possible, I ask them first what their budget is or their expected rate they want to pay me. After that, you can respond. This puts the ball in your court. This is the same for any price negotiation. Let them lead first with the price, and then you get to counter. There are many times when the price or hourly rate I had in my head was so much smaller than what the client ended up presenting. I could have quoted first and missed out on some profits. If they drive a hard bargain and decided your quote was too high, you can either lower your price or stick with it. A lot of times, they do like you and want to use you, but they're just trying to get the best deal. It's up to you, but if I'm at the lowest I want to be, I'm going to stick with it. Most of the time, my client ends up going with my rate because my work was good and I was worth it. They're just bargaining. Not everyone just accepts the highest price without a fight. Would you buy a car from a car salesman at the first quote they give you? Absolutely not. You can't expect them to do the same either. It's because we pay for our own health insurance, retirement, and perks. We do not get free coffee in the office, and a lot of times we pay out of pocket for our software each month. I know I do. We spend hours each month creating our invoices, doing our own accounting, and these hours are not paid. So never compare a salaried or in-house person with freelance rates. That in-house rate is usually only $25 an hour for, let's say, a graphic designer in the United States, and freelancers' rates will be at least double that. Especially if you're going to be freelancing for a larger organization. And for good reason. Do not use in-house rates to determine your worth as a freelancer, because when someone works for you, they are getting the accounting, the software, the flexibility, and perks that go with it. I want to hear what other questions you may have. Feel free to put your question in the discussions tab and let's start a conversation. If I get a couple of great questions, I'll create another video just like this.